I was going to say that I missed a couple of things. So one of the things I missed was that if you think of an example in everyday life, how a memory could be processed, when you think about and you can see how you can do this work without doing golden thread or symbols. If you get finely tuned into these implicit memories and you notice that maybe your partner is sliding or your friend is sliding, if you look at them in the eyes and kind of work out what age they are, and then ask yourself what you would do if that person was that age in front of you, how would you treat them? What would you say? It's quite possible that you might say the one thing that they need to hear to slide that memory on without having to do trauma work. So say if your partner comes home from work really pissed off and or triggered, and then you're like, oh, always a dickhead, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That's just the normal cycle that goes on. But if you see them triggered and you look at their eyes and go, hang on, this is quite childlike behavior, whether it's reverting and wanting to get away from people or getting angry, then you realize that this partner of yours is not the partner that you married. This is one of the personalities coming through. And then you can think, hang on, if my child was 4 or 5 and acting like that, would I be treating them that way? Probably not. What would I do? And then you'd probably go up to a 4-year-old, 5-year-old who's been bullied at school and go, hey, it's all good. You know, you're home, it's safe. Now, if you said that to that person, it's quite possible that you'll shift the memory on because you're actually talking to a 4 or 5-year-old when they're sliding. You wouldn't do it if you're the trigger. Ain't gonna work. And you wouldn't do it if the person is like an angry, aggressive type of person that will hit you for treating them like a kid. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting. I heard of someone that was living in extreme trauma, and the father was abusive as well. And one day the father was saying something that was really, really bad. So this person just got triggered and just blurted out everything that they'd wanted to say that they never could. And then after that event, they got on really well. The dad and the daughter lost heaps of weight, trauma response stopped, PTSD went, sleeping normal. So it's like they finished the cycle, which was for that one, fight, flight, or understand, fall back. So the child got to say what they needed to say, and then that time was time stamped and put in the past, and they were able to move forward. So I mean, this shit is happening in real time all the time within our brain. Our cycles are getting changed. They didn't know that either, which I think is quite exciting because it, you know, you can sometimes, like I say, the hypnotherapy and the hypnotherapy session is good, but the goal generally happens in the talk beforehand. The hypnotherapy seems to just finalize it and lock it in and create this amazing memory, but the change seems to happen in the conversation and the slamming things, which is really cool, eh? So even knowing that you can kind of talk your way through this stuff when people are triggered, if you kind of have a think about what would I say if this person was young, you know? Yeah. Oh, you are in here. I really felt like I wasn't alone. I thought I had a ghost, and it's the dog, big dog behind me. Didn't even notice it. She's like a big dog. She's in the bed. So another key point, I'm going to go right down to here. I haven't talked about all the stuff yet, this golden thread stuff. This avoid naming feelings. This is where we get into a real sticky spot being therapists, because we tend to give people's feelings and our own feelings names of anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, hurt, blocks. Like I've got my money block, I've got a something rather block, you know, all of these kind of human ways of naming things in our bodies. Okay. So when we're working with implicit memories, they are not emotions. It's not anxiety. It's not anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame. It's not that. Okay. I'm not saying there's no emotions, but emotions come and go in waves. Someone's a dick to you, you get angry at them, you come home, you get over it. That's anger. You know what I mean? These implicit memories have all of those emotions hooked up because it's a memory. So one memory doesn't just have sadness in it. One memory could have fear and anger and sadness and confusion and even good emotions tied into it. It's a memory. And so if we name it, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose the feeling because the brain will kick in going, I don't understand. So when you get in Golden Thread, you ask them to close your eyes. Where do they feel that feeling in the body? Take their word emotion out. That's not right in here. That should actually say feeling or sensation. But if we were to say someone's suddenly had a panic look on their face, close your eyes. Where do you feel that fear in your body? Their brain's going to go, fear? Hang on, I don't fear there. I usually fear in my stomach. Do you know what I mean? It's taking away from what it is. Or if you say, where is that sadness sitting? They'll go, oh, and they'll think, oh, it's in my heart. When in actual fact, it was in their tummy. But they're like, sadness doesn't sit in the tummy. So it's very important that it's not given any form of name. Do you know what I mean? So when we're working, say, timeline therapy, perfect example. We are working with emotions. We work with them in a line: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, hurt. I can't really remember the line, and you do one per session. And you go back and you clear explicit memories, one after another. Look back. What do you see as that feeling in that memory? So it's perfectly fine to use the word emotion words when you're dealing with emotions. Right? So this is a different technique. We're dealing with sensations that are being triggered through a memory. So I'm just being real thingy about that, just because it does throw people off. And if you are doing symbols and you pull the symbol out of the body and it's given a name of a red heart, from then on it becomes the red heart, just like when we do parts with the two hands. From then on, it's the red heart. So it has an energy of its own. We still don't, if they say it's sadness, we keep it to a shape and a color, because we're doing the least amount to trigger this front lobe cutting in. Do you know what I mean? So avoiding naming names, avoiding naming it and assuming that it is an emotion it's so important when you're doing this style of trauma work. It's just a sensation. And as we say, like, people have a sensation that comes up, like I did that demo with Boost, for people that had a sensation coming up over doing emails and things, when and they would call it, I've got a money block or I've got a business block. It's not, you've got a sensation, you're being triggered by this stuff. So yeah, so it's very different. So two different kind of categories of work with the emotions work and this. But this Golden Thread is like symbols, a tiny step in your therapy work. It's a tool that goes in there when a feeling comes up. It's not the whole session unless you do it like I do it. If you want to specialize in trauma, then we just slam shit for the whole session. But it's a part of a session. The one thing I didn't explain, which would be really good to go back to right now, would be the role of negative and positive emotions. I'm just gonna stop you for a sec and see if I can find it. Oh yeah, no, I found it. I'll just bring it back. The reason is positive and negative emotions are really interesting. Did I go through the role of emotions in the diploma? I would have, No? It's supposed to be in the advanced course, but sometimes I end up sharing it just because it is quite important.
I don't remember it.
In the actual platform online, which has got all the advanced stuff, just like the diploma platform, there's heaps of videos to watch if you want to go over things. This newer stuff will be a little bit different to the newer stuff, but I mean, you still learn heaps. So when we do GT, we're shifting uncomfortable sensations in the body, right? And I wish I had a line here. So imagine that I might be able to do this. I'm just going to try something. Stop share for a second. I'm just going to see if I can do a whiteboard. Oh, this will be the first time I've done a whiteboard, so it might not be good. Pretty exciting. Okay, so we're talking negative and positive emotions. So imagine that's me trying to draw a straight line. That's so bad. But imagine that here is neutral, right? And here are positive emotions, and here are negative emotions. So with GT and this kind of work, the person starting here. Oh, what we're doing is we're going back to shift uncomfortable feelings, right? Now, if we didn't, in the golden thread, we take people into the future to see how their future is without the feeling, which is a positive emotion. But if we didn't, we would bring these people back to neutral, which, like, I know as a hypnotherapist, our goal is to not make people feel neutral, right? We want people to feel good. And so the feeling good happens when we do the hypnosis, we do the future pacing, we do the goal setting, we get them to visualize how they want to be, and we get them into the future. So that's why, even though this golden thread and symbols and stuff is so incredibly powerful, to create really good change, we need to focus on the positive as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 So, but we do, in the golden thread, I do show you that we always go into the future just to check what's different now that feeling's gone. So, and I put that in there just to make sure that we do take them into the future. We don't leave them neutral. I remember when I was working on feelings quite a lot, and I ended up feeling almost robotic because I didn't have joy or love or any. That's not really in my way of having those heightened happy emotions. I'm pretty neutral anyway. But when I took away all the dark emotions, it was like, ugh. And I was like, this is not how it's supposed to be. You know, we're supposed to be feeling good. Do you know what I mean? And so to be feeling good, people need to know how to feel good and how to get to that space as well. So that's why we need to do it. One thing I found really good when explaining with golden thread, when we talk about this, and we haven't even gone through it properly first. If you think about a person's past and future, and this makes it really easy, a person comes in to our clinic with a yuck sensation in their body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're triggered. When they're triggered, we bring that feeling up and we take them back to the first time that they felt the feeling. All we basically do is we go into the scene. We're changing that memory, right? We're pulling them up out of the scene with the child or the age that they were with, integrating them. And then we go into the future to see what's changed. That's the steps. That's it. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that it's you know, that you'd put it up as a picture. But that's really all we're doing. The person has a not nice feeling in their body. We're bringing the feeling up, going back, going into the scene, changing the memory, giving a mismatch experience, integrating the two ages together, and then chucking them in the future to see the changes that have been made. Yep. So when you really get that concept or that idea of how simple it is in your mind, really get your head around that, then it makes you understand more that we don't have to do a lot in it. We don't have to get too caught up.
Can I just ask about that? So you've got there's an uncomfortable sensation.
Yeah.
You bring them back to say 5,
Yeah.
you get them to.
Yeah, so we'll talk about what we do in a minute.
Oh,
then.
okay, because
And-
what I didn't understand was that what I didn't understand was that if they're 5 and there was a misunderstanding, you change the sensation.
Yeah. So
And
we'll
then
go into
align
how
it.
you do it.
Okay, that's
'Cause
great.
we haven't talked about how we do it yet, but this is
Okay.
just like the overall, just the very quick of it. If a client comes in with a sensation in the body, we're going to take them back. We're going to go into the scene, change the memory, get them and the younger them out of the scene and take them into the future. That's it, and that's in the nuts and bolts basic.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to show you how to do that. And you've got a thing to follow to start out. I'd love you guys to get off that as quickly as possible. So anyway, we were talking about negative, positive emotions. So what I was telling you was about the role of why we don't just clear negative emotions and send people on their way, because it is so powerful and they have change. Why is it that we don't just do that? And this is what it is. I'll share this quickly, this negative, positive emotions. The sad face. So what do negative emotions do? They are there specifically to keep us safe. They're a survival thing. They are a signal that we're in danger. Move away from whatever it is that's causing it. The dumb thing is negative emotions move us towards the threat and danger, narrowing the focus and our visual attention so that we can escape the threat or the danger. So basically, the sensation comes up and we are forced to look or face the threat, right? So if a if a person is scared of spiders, they'll know where the spider is in the room, because their focus, even the pupils get smaller as they focus on. So we're pointed towards threat or danger so that we can run away. Now, have you ever, do you know people that keep on getting into the same old shitty relationship over and over again? Or people that are in a situation that's not a good situation and they talk about it all the time, but they can't get out of it, or they won't leave, even though they could walk out the door? This is why. Because their mind is making them, like literally making them stay close to the threat or danger as a survival mechanism. If I know where the danger is, I'm safe. It was there for when we were a long time ago. But for now, it seems crazy. So when you think about, say, you know how women go in really abusive relationships and they can't get out of them and they're being beaten and they keep on going back. And then it actually takes a massive force of people to uplift that person and put them into a place. And then over time, they realize it's where they need to be. It's because a negative emotion closes us off, keeps us around the threat or the danger. And so in their mind, being there, not leaving, is actually the safe thing to do. Crazy, eh? But when they go into a place where they're forced to be safe and they start feeling positive emotions, things kick in. Positive emotions expand people's openness to new experiences, right? The lady that can't leave the bad relationship, when you're like, there's a front door and you have a car, like seriously, they can't see the front door. It's not a way out, because their mind isn't showing them things around them. So positive emotions expand people's openness to new experiences. It makes us open our eyes, like our vision. We see more in a positive. We see more of our environment when we relax in a positive place. That's why you can trick someone into hypnosis instantly by getting them to stare straight ahead in a spot and ask them to tell you what is on the walls, on the sides, but without looking at them. So you do it right now. If you guys just stare at a spot, stare at the wall in front of you, and then while you're staring at a spot on the wall, notice what's on the side of you. Is it a wall? Is it a curtain? Is it a window? And then notice the other side, but keep your eyes looking forward. You will notice that you'll start relaxing. because we're tricking our body into feeling safe. So you can get someone out of a panic attack instantly by getting their attention. I think I taught this in the diploma. Getting their attention, so they look at your fingers, telling them to stare at your fingers, and while they're staring, tell me when you can't see my finger anymore. And they will actually, their mind will open up and they'll go out of the panic attack instantly because you've tricked their brain into feeling safe. Crazy, eh? How cool is that? There's a lot of inductions like that. There's inductions you can do, which is just staring at a spot and just notice what's on the side of you. Notice the red curtain, and then closing your eyes down. It takes people into deep trance really quickly. So positive emotions also, so it literally broadens the scope of what we see. It expands people's openness to critical feedback or advice. This is really interesting. So when people have positive emotions in them, you can sit and have a conversation with them about things that they're doing wrong, right? If you've got kids having problems at school and the teacher's going at them and in that fear response, they're not going to hear anything the teacher says. But if the kid feels safe with you and you're having a hug and you just say, hey, you know, as long as I don't get wound up, they're going to have a conversation with you. So a lot of counseling and stuff is really worked on a person feeling safe and comfortable with you so that they can open up. Because if they don't feel safe, they ain't opening up. And that's the same with us in rapport and hypnosis. So positive emotions increases activity and connection. So a positive emotions crave connection with others, craves connection. They when you have positive emotions, you want to be outgoing, doing things. You want to chat with people. You want to have fun. It's positive. When you have a negative emotion, it withdraws you and keeps you in the environment that's safe, like at home. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want connection because a negative emotion is wired to keep us safe that way. So people that have got depression and stuff, they're not choosing to stay at home and not do anything. Their brain is telling them to stay home. It's giving them that response. It's unsafe to leave at a deeper level. So, you know, when we clear these negative sensations in the body, you can see why it's so important to then bring in positive and to go into the future and do hypnotherapy to get a well-rounded, good result, if that makes sense. So they're both as important as each other, you know. It says here in NLP, a popular way to bring relaxation to a client is to expand their peripheral vision, which is what we just did. Stare at a spot and lift their hands, and as they're staring, you know, stop where you can see. I don't know if you can see me. And you'll notice if you close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, you'll be able to keep on going back more and more. So the more you're in parasympathetic calm, the more you'll be able to see behind you. So crazy. Just the way we're wired for safety. So, and it's just got to do with the, when we have a fear, our eyes get smaller and sharp and they focus. When we relax, our pupils dilate, they get nice and big. And we're calm and relaxed. So we can trick the nervous system just by changing our eyes. Cool, eh?
Wow.
Really good to know for kids. Good to know for kids. I've had to use that for panic attack on kids. Just getting their attention and getting them to look at my wiggly fingers over here, like that. Look at my finger. Tell me when you can see the wiggling finger. And it does, the brain just goes, whoa, I'm safe. Done. Like 60 seconds. It should be taught to, you know, these people that go on into a situation straight away. It's very easy to do. Yeah, so I'm going to stop the recording.